In the example so far, we've had all of these variables filled from our file. So when we view them, we've got the name, address, and phone number for all of the tags. What if we only want to have the name and address, or just the name? And how do we get that centered on the tag? Now, for example, here I've edited the file so we don't have the address or the phone number on these two tags. So let's just have a look at what that turns out like when we run our test. You can see here our text isn't centered on the tag. That's because LightBurn is still seeing the carriage returns, the enters between each line. Unfortunately, there's not a way to change this. Obviously, for the single line where we just had the name, we could just move this name over to the center and that will work for that tag. But for two lines, even if we move it to the middle, we're still going to be offset from the center of the tag. It doesn't center properly. So what we can do, unfortunately, we can't have that automatically center. So for repeat marking, that's not ideal, because we would want to engrave this lot and then index a certain distance and then engrave the next set. But if we're pulling these in automatically on the fly and automatically advancing through the file, we're going to be off center on any that have two lines. So to work around it, you can either create a second template which only has two lines and separate those out of the file and create a separate CSV file and run them completely separately. Or you can run a large jig and do a manual edit. So effectively create one large sheet. So instead of doing repeat marking and just having a small one column displayed, you would display the entire column for all the columns for your entire jig of tags. So I'll give you a demonstration of that now. So we would still have our variable file. We would have a whole lot more across our jig, making it a large sheet. We'd take our large sheet and we would update each of these, so these are different increment numbers, different offsets. And what we can do is save this as our new template, which would be a template for the entire tray, using it as an extended, the index X as an extended table to run an oversized work area. And then what we can do is take this one sheet and whatever number we're up to here, whatever we preview here, we can lock that in. So it's no longer variable, and then we can edit it, each one individually. So in this case, this will start from whatever number we're up to, so we can create multiple sheets if we need to, but we would save them off individually from the template. So we'd start at the start, we'd set this one and we'll hit bake. And that would lock all of these in, and we can now center them all individually. Now that might seem like a lot of work, but it's actually quite easy to do. We can select everything on an entire row. If we grab from the top left corner and drag down, anything in the red box, it will select anything that is completely surrounded. So that has just selected all the names. Even though we crossed the edges of other things, it only selected what was fully inside it. Then we can select just one tag. If we hold Shift and select one tag on the row, the last thing that we've selected, it will align to. Now we can use the alignment tools at the top. So there's a horizontal and align H center, or we can just press the E button on the keyboard and it will center vertically. And we can do that. It wouldn't matter if one of these only had, so we can edit this text. If we only had one name here, so these can all be different. We can select all the text, hold shift, select one tag, and center it that way. Then you could save this as a sheet. So you call it tag sheet 1. And then you could run that file as one job. Then you could open up your template again, update to the new position for the next set, bake that into another sheet, quickly center those, save it, and then run that as the next job. It's a little bit more manual, but it gets around the centering issue and still allows you to run big bulk batches.